Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Welcome to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Masten, the director of Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. The purpose of this program is to share unsolved cases with as many South Florida viewers as possible, empowering you to do something about the violence on our streets. Every case we feature is unsolved. Every case we feature has a cash reward available. In other words, every case we feature is an opportunity for you to help your community and at the same time earn Crime Stoppers cash without even giving your name. Now let's get started. On October the 10th, 2010, 39-year-old Juan Allayo was shot and killed outside a Southwest 27th Avenue nightclub. Here's the story.
On October 2nd, 2010, at approximately 3 a.m., patrol officers received a call in the area of 11th Street and Southwest 27th Avenue. Upon arrival, the victim was found shot. He sustained one gunshot wound to the leg. It's a residential neighborhood. There's some businesses in the area, some small businesses. For the most part, it's a quiet neighborhood. The victim is Juan Allayo. He's 39. A black Latin male. He came from Cuba. He had been living in Miami for the last 16 years. His parents were currently still in Cuba. He had relatives here in Miami. That's how we were able to identify him. During the course of the investigation, we later found out that the victim, Juan Allayo, had some type of confrontation with the older gentleman in front of the club, which is Club Bolero. According to some of the witnesses and people interviewed in the area, there was some type of argument. The older gentleman was knocked down to the ground. The patrons inside the club came out and picked him up, took him back inside the club, at which time they heard gunfire. But once he was shot, he fled towards the rear of the club and then north into the following block where he collapsed from his gunshot wound. He was transported to Ryder Trauma, where he later died as a result of his gunshot wounds. Apparently, he might have been shot outside the club, just north of the doorway on the sidewalk. There's a blood trail that leads in an alleyway towards the rear of the club, over a chain link fence behind a daycare to the next block where he collapsed. You can see that in the direction that he was running, there was a parked vehicle where there was blood gushing out on the wall and on that car. At the time of the homicide, there were a dozen people inside the club, patrons inside the club, and there were people on the scene. If anyone has any information or any tips reference to the homicide of Juan Allayo, which occurred at 1148 Southwest 27th Avenue, outside Club Bolero, please call me Detective Passmore at City Miami Homicide, or if you want to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers.
As the detectives said, there were dozens of witnesses to this crime. If you were there, or if you know anything about who shot Juan Allayo, call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous and you'll be eligible for a cash reward.
Crime Stoppers is an international organization dedicated to bringing resolution to unsolved crimes. Members of the public work with police to make the world a safer place. Since 1975, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations worldwide have helped make over 1 million arrests. Crime Stoppers acts as your advocate, keeping you anonymous and ensuring that your information gets to the right law enforcement agency.
On May the 11th, 2011, 45-year-old Dean Nathan Young took a ride with a young couple in the area of the 500 block of Northwest 73rd Street. They parked for a moment, and minutes later they were savagely attacked in a rain of machine gun fire, and Dean Nathan Young lost his life. Here's the story.
Growing up, my brother was the fourth of 5 kids.
We were 5, and then our neighbors were, how many was 7 or 8? So everybody came like in our neighborhood, on our street, in our yard, between the 2 houses and played. So we always like more so like a close-knit family.
As I can remember from a child, he couldn't walk for a while. And it was because he had scoliosis, and at that time my mom didn't know.
But we always knew that we had to take care of him. We had to watch him, make sure nobody bothered him. Everybody had to make sure they, protect him.
And if you had to meet him, everybody like, oh, he's so serious looking because he's staying up straight because he had scoliosis where he had a rod in his back. And he would like, oh, he looks so serious, But no, when you get to know him, you really enjoy him. He was that type of person, real funny and friendly.
Growing up, he was always he liked to joke. He liked to dance, hang with his friends.
He had a nickname for everybody except me. Everybody in the family got a nickname. I'm the only one that didn't get a nickname. I guess I was like the mother of the family.
He just liked to have fun. He didn't like confusion. He said what he felt, but if he felt that he hurt somebody or whatever, and he had a little money in his pocket, he'd go to the store and buy you something just to smooth it over, to make it seem, to let you know that it was okay. And no hard feelings, and then turn around and tell you he loved you. That's the kind of person my brother was.
His relationship with the nieces and nephews in the family, awesome. All of them love him. It was to the point that up until the day that he died, I didn't know that my son was going to his house every Wednesday and take him places that he needed to go. And he was like, I just saw him. And somebody shot him, like, yeah, that's what they said. And he's always there for his nieces, give him his heart if he can. That's the kind of person he was.
He never left the neighborhood. He always went back to it and continued to be with the same people. So he loved the neighborhood that we grew up in. He always hung around the people until the day he died. He moved back in the neighborhood. He was living in the same area. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody watched out for each, other. The older kids watched the younger kids back. We all was like family in the neighborhood.
The last time I was with my brother was like 2 weeks before he got killed. He rode a bicycle to my house from Liberty City, and I live in Miami Gardens. And I thought it was strange. Why would you ride a bicycle that far? He said, oh, I just come by to see you. I said, you come by to see me? You could have called me. He said, no, I hadn't seen you in a while, so I just came by just to spend a little time. I said, I got to go to work. He said, yes. So I said, okay then. When I got ready to leave, I said, you want to put your bike in the truck and I'll drop you off at the Golden Glaze Exchange and you could take the bus from there. You won't have to ride back so far by it. He said, no, put it in the truck. I'm going to go with you. And he rode all the way downtown with me to work. And I'm like, that's a long way to be riding. He said, I'm all right. I just want to ride with you. And I said, okay then. So when I got to work, he took the bike out and like always, he gave me a hug and a kiss and said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. I'll see you later. And I asked him, do you need anything? He said, no, I told you I'm all right.
And we all looked out for each other, because my days always tell us, we all we got. So we always looked out for each other, regardless.
Back in Wednesday, May 11th, 2011, at approximately 1:31 hours, or 1:31 a.m., the city of Miami dispatchers received a call referencing several shots fired in the area between 5th Avenue and 7th Avenue on 73rd Street. Police patrol officers responded, and they were able to locate a victim that was laying on the grassy area near a parking lot. The victim was a black male, young. He was shot multiple times. They were also able to locate a female victim, which had been shot in the face. Due to her shooting, she lost her right eye. They were also able to locate a third victim, which was the deceased, another black male. His name was Dean Nathan Young. Unfortunately, due to the injuries that he sustained, he expired later on at the hospital. From what we understand so far, the three victims had arrived at around 1:25 a.m. in the morning. The two male victims had gone to pick up the female victim from her place of work. Upon them getting to the female victim's house, one of the victims decided to step out of the car and talk to the female victim. As they were both talking, their victim, which was the deceased, he was inside the passenger seat of the vehicle. At some point during the conversation, the male victim, he sees a person coming from behind the female victim, which is blocking his view at the time. As he looked up, he saw a high-power rifle. He was able to push the female victim out of the way, and at that time, the rifle was raised and shots began to fire. That's when the female victim got struck in the face. She has numerous face injuries, and like I said previously, lost her right eye due to the injuries. The male victim that was talking to her outside the vehicle ran behind the vehicle where they were standing in front, and apparently he was shot multiple times. He has some severe injuries. The victim that was inside the vehicle, obviously seeing what was going on, decided to exit the vehicle just like any normal person would do and run away from the fire, but he was gunned down. He was gunned down approximately 20 to 30 yards away from the area, and subsequently, we believe that they came out to him and finished him off. The deceased, he was transported. Unfortunately, he died on the way to the hospital.
I went to the area where they shot him at, and I saw all those bullet shells laying around where they had the little cones. And I was like, who would shoot somebody this many times to make a point? All because of what? Territory? Are you trying to impress somebody? Or, you know, and then you go and you shoot innocent people.
Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. We now return to the tragic case of the murder of Dean Nathan Young.
On Wednesday, May 11, 2011, 45-year-old Mr. Dean Nathan Young was gunned down while running away from gunfire at the location of 571 Northwest 73rd Street in the city of Miami. The incident where it occurred is a community of several buildings, one-story buildings. Once they arrived at the house, we actually have surveillance video of the victims turning into their street and going into the parking lot area. So obviously they parked their vehicle in backwards. Female and the male got out. They began talking. Like I said, the other victims stayed inside the vehicle. As they're facing 7th Avenue, which will be on the west side to them, that's when the victim observed a male who's walking along the buildings, hiding, concealing himself, approaching them with a high-power rifle. That's when he was able to push the female out of the way, and that's when the shots rang out, and obviously that's when they all got hit. We were able to determine that there was several AK-47 casings within the vicinity of the victim, right 2-3 feet away from his body. So we definitely know they came up to him and shot him. Through our investigation, we were able to determine that there was a second gunman. He had a handgun. There were some casings found about 15 to 20 yards away from where the initial casings of the AK-47 were located. So we definitely know that there was two gunmen, probably a third. We're not sure, but definitely we know there was two gunmen. Approximately 5 minutes later, there's a vehicle headed westbound on 73rd Street with the lights shut off. We're unable to obtain any other information from the video, just that the vehicle all of a sudden is seen with the lights go on and coming back westbound on 73rd Street and then turning north on 7th Avenue. The offending vehicle description was a silver, either Maxima or Altima. From there, we were able to determine that shortly after that, a couple of seconds after that, that's when the call came into the City of Miami dispatch advising of the shots fired.
I just miss my brother. I miss arguing with him. I miss him coming around bothering me. I miss me just being there for him, you know, taking him places, doing things for him.
How can you take someone's life and not even sure of what you're doing and why you're doing it? And it's all because of reputation. I can't see it. It has taken a lot from me, where I get up in the mornings and I look around, you know, normally my brother would call me and say, oh, I just called to say hello, how you doing? Everything is all right? And I would say, yeah. He said, okay then. I was just calling, I love you.
Every time he left you or said anything to you, his last words always was, I love you, regardless. I don't care if you probably say, oh, I can't stand you right now, I still love you. You know, that was his last words whenever he ended the conversation.
No witnesses were located in the area at the time. No witnesses have come forward at this time. We are seeking the community to come forward, especially in that area where there has been numerous homicides and drug activity, to see if they can help us out with the investigation. In reference to our suspects, we know that there were two males dressed all in black, unknown if they were black, white, or Hispanic. We've noticed that these victims had no quarrels with anybody in the vicinity. We know that the vicinity is a high traffic for narcotics and for problems between two other towns. There's a possibility that these people were shot mistakenly and they were at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He removed a part of our family. It's a part of the missing puzzle, and we can't replace that puzzle. My nephew will never have his dad again. My sons, my nieces, and other nephews will never have their uncle again. My mother will never have a son again. And we will never have a brother again. If they only knew how they have destroyed our family, they'll turn themselves in.
I'm talking on behalf of finding somebody, hoping that somebody come forth to saying, okay, I saw this, that, or whatever, so that we can have some kind of closure. My mama, she is like, and she has a heart problem. So she's, when I told her we were coming here today, today's her birthday. And my grandson's birthday. I didn't want to tell her I was coming here, but I know it has to be done.
Anyone with information regarding this homicide, please call me Detective John Rusinke at City of Miami Homicide. If you would like to remain anonymous, please call Crime Stoppers, and we will appreciate all your information.
In the case of the machine gun murder of Dean Nathan Young, police have little to go on. They know the shooters were 2 to 3 males. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. You'll remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward. Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Masten. It's been proven that programs such as ours solve crimes after several airings of a case. With that in mind, we'd like to quickly review a few cases that we've featured on past episodes.
On Thursday, July 1st, 2010, at approximately 4:56 p.m., Shedrick Ursery was riding his bicycle eastbound on 151st Terrace, approaching the 3200 block of Northwest 151st Terrace. Mr. Ursery was traveling from his work release program to work. He was traveling on his bicycle when he was observed to be followed by a white work van. As the van approached and subsequently hit Mr. Ursery was jolted from his bicycle. He did fall to the ground. Both occupants of the van confronted Mr. Ursery where the physical altercation had taken place. It was a physical fight where fists were being thrown, and the fight eventually made its way towards the side of the south end of the road. It was alleged that the passenger of the van displayed what is apparently a 9mm semi-automatic firearm and had fired multiple shots into the body of Mr. Ursery. The suspects appeared to be 2 black males. My name is Detective Dave Noble. I'm assigned to the Miami Gardens Robbery Homicide Unit, or as always, to be eligible for potentially a $1,000 reward where you can remain anonymous, you can contact Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers.
Crime Stoppers of Miami-Dade has one goal: to make the streets safer for law-abiding citizens by solving cases and capturing criminals. Now, I'm Dick Masten. Be sure to join us next week for another episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files.